bad leadership tunakataa. Na pia nita-inject na wimbo ambao unaitwa leo. Tunasema leo ni leo, kuna mambo leo ni leo, mapambano vijana tuale, kuna mambo vijana tusimame, mapambano wa Kenya tusimame, kuna mambo wa Kenya tusimame, mapambano. Tutasimama kwa hii mapambano, sisi kama Wakenya, sisi kama vijana, sisi kama wasomi, tusimame katika mapambano na tuendelee kupigana. So it is for these reasons, comrade, today I'll invite our next speakers who will give us the reasons why are we saying Ruto must go. I see KOT Sonko, who was already up.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sefu, for giving me this chance. Hope you can hear me clearly.
Can you remember 2 minutes?
Okay, sorry, Sefu, can you hear me clearly because I'm speaking?
I can hear you very
fine.
clearly.
And guys, okay. So guys, I really take this moment to thank you for giving me this chance on this space. And of course, I just heard we have so many social justice artists on this space, and of course, I really want to appreciate Nonini and Willie Oeba for the good job you are doing. So guys, tomorrow Nonini and Willie Oeba will be launching their social justice song, and of course it will be hosted on Sauti ya Mwananchi, where I host the space alongside Ayo and Wanyama. Ayo is the director of the song, and so we welcome you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. And of course, Nonini is on this space. I would really love to hear from him there after some times to come. So if Nonini, you wish to say a word to your guys here who are really anticipating for that piece tomorrow at 8 p.m., then feel free. But now, why Ruto must go? Personally, I feel Ruto must go because this guy is a liar. Number one, he has been lying on us as the youth that he is going to create job opportunities for us, but he has never done that. Yeah, the only job opportunities that he has created for us is going to in the Arabic countries to be the housewives. The house boys and house girls. So I feel he has been a liar, and of course he lied to our parents. Some times back he said he's going to ensure that the cooking gas. Yeah. So the parents who are here I want you to reason with me. He said he is going to ensure that the cooking gas goes from as low as 300 shillings. Today, as we speak, a 6 kg cylinder for cooking gas, it goes at around 1,400 just to refill. You've not included that cylinder. So that guy is a liar. Look at his cabinet and the members of his cabinet and the PSs. They are all corrupt. Yeah, that even most of them have corruption cases on their names. Look at his deputy president. During the previous regime, when Ruto was the deputy president of this country, his regime and Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, they had to freeze Gachagwa's account of over 200 million because they believed that money, it was the taxpayers' money. And immediately they took over Gachagua and Ruto. Yeah, the money which had been frozen because it was believed to be taxpayers' money, it was given back to Gachagua. So Ruto and Gachagua, they are very corrupt leaders. Yeah, and any other person who is in his cabinet and the PS, they are very corrupt. Then this is a person as a president who has failed to pass 2 finance bills in 2 years consecutively. Yeah, meaning citizen of this country, back in 2023, the 2023 finance bill was ruled unconstitutional by the High Court of Kenya. And I thank God the Chief Justice, Dr. William Mutunga, is on this space. And in 2024, the finance bill was rejected by the people of this nation, meaning we had no confidence in this person. So if today we are going to have a vote of no confidence, then automatically William Ruto and his regime, they'll go home. Why Ruto must go? It's because the parliament, as we speak, it is dissolved. Because on 25th June 2024, when true patriotics and citizens of this country stood up and rejected the finance bill, they marched into the parliament. And after marching into the parliament, they walked away with the mess. By walking away with the mess of the national parliament, it means the national parliament has been dissolved. Yeah. So,
Thank
Seth,
you,
just a minute.
KOT.
Just a minute, Seth. I finish my submission. Just a minute. I beg for having only 1 minute.
I'll
So
give you 1
the
minute.
parliament is already dissolved. Okay. Thank you. So the parliament is already dissolved by the able citizens of this country. Yeah. And of course, Ruto must go because his leadership is so oppressive. Look at what is happening around the new university funding model. He never consulted any person. He made a decision on his own by not including the students, parents, and even student leaders. And that's why students across this nation from the higher learning institutions are going on the streets come next month to demand that the new funding model, which is so oppressive, is rejected in totality. And of course, they are saying fees must fall. So guys, tomorrow I welcome you at 8 p.m. where I'll be having Nonini and any other social justice artists who wish to join us. You can always join on my space so that Nonini will be releasing that song with Willie Oeba. Thank you so much, Sefu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, KOT Sonko. Also, when we speak about the role of art, what is the role of art in this struggle? Because our music should be able to mirror what is happening in our society and to give and to speak about the ills, to call them out, and also to be able to give civic education. So thank you very much for that. Of course, even as we do other forms of art, such as theater, such as music, such as murals, we saw a very powerful mural of Comrade Shakira. And it is something that reminds us of our fight and the fight that we are fighting for a sovereign nation, as is in Article 1 of our Constitution. So now I would like to invite Mwalimu Mutemi Kiama from Kongamano la Mapinduzi. Mwalimu Karibu, give us the reasons why Ruto must go now. And kindly just take 2 minutes so that we are able to admit other comments. Mwalimu.
Thank you, Comrade Sani. Thank you, Comrade Mubiora. Thank you, Comrade Kasmuel, and every other comrade on this space. All I can say in 2 minutes is that the 13 reasons that have been captured articulate why Ruto must go. But more than that, the power belongs to the people and the people of Kenya. And you have someone who, I heard Professor talking about ruling, that Ruto has been trying to rule Kenya. We moved away from the era of rulers. We are supposed to be having leaders. If someone thinks that they can rule people in the 21st century, Kenya is not a monarchy. So Ruto must go if he thinks he wants to become the emperor of Kenya. The other thing I want to talk about is we keep talking about civic education. We moved away from, we've been having civic education for the last 30 years, 3 decades. We are in the era of political education, not civic education. This is the ability to connect dots. Why the price of this and that is this way, why the cost of education is high, why Parliament is failing Kenyans and is not representing us, why we must reject finance bill. That is political education. It's connecting the dots. It's connecting how the decisions that are made by MPs and other elected leaders affect us. And that is what we need to focus on, not civic education, but political education. And Ruto must go because is totally disconnected from what is happening to Kenyans. He's too focused on his own, self-aggrandizement, creating wealth, creating his own dynasty at the expense of every other Kenyan. It's very clear from economists that we have enough resources in every budget. In the last 3-4 budgets, we've raised enough resources to fund not only Kenya, but the East African region. Yet we keep increasing our budget and we keep borrowing so that we can loot. This cannot go on, and it should not go on. But I want to throw a spanner in the works and say, rather than Ruto goes, or the way Ruto goes, is that Parliament must go. The most powerful institution in our constitution is the National Assembly, together with the Senate. They've been given power to oversight the judiciary and to oversight also the executive and other independent institutions. But they've refused to do their work. They've been bought by, we've had reports of 10,000 shillings in the toilets, 100,000 shillings to sell the soul of Kenyans. So I want us to research something called pillars of support. When you talk about Ruto, Ruto is not where he is alone. He is there, as we saw when Gen Z pushed into the wall. There are those people who reached out, and they are called pillars of support. There are many pillars of support. There's the church, there's the media, as you've articulated that the media is compromised. There's parliament, there's judiciary, there's academia, there's the people. But the weakest pillar for us as a people is parliament. And we must fix parliament. We must bring down parliament to bring down Ruto. So Ruto must go and parliament must go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mwalimu Mutemi Kiama, even as you speak about political education. And yeah, this is truly the era of political education, and we have seen an uprising because of the political consciousness and connecting our socioeconomic factors to what is happening politically, and for us to also ask for integrity. Just before I call on the next speaker, I will just read again the 13 reasons why Ruto must go. And this is a document from the National Coordination Committee of the Assemblies. And these are all the different people that have been on the streets that want a just Kenya, that we want to amplify the voices from the ground up and have a sovereign country. And of course, all of us who are here are welcome to come and join this Coordination Committee of the People's Assembly for us to do better for our country together, because umoja ni nguvu na utengano ni udhaifu. The first one is 13 reasons why Ruto must go now. Extrajudicial killings and mass of Kenyans. 2 is the debt crisis. Number 3 is the unemployment crisis. Number 4 is violation of the Constitution. Number 5 is subversion of state institutions. Number 6 is the disregard for the people's voice. Number 7 is a puppet of foreign powers. Number 8 is corruption and looting. Number 9 is destruction of democracy. And number 10 is auctioning national assets. Number 11 is destroying healthcare and education. Number 12 is tribalism and cronyism. Number 13 is selling our land and natural resources. So these are the 13 reasons why we are saying Ruto must go now, because we want an alternative for our country and we want better leadership. I will now call on Kimani Nyoike. I'm just Nyoike to speak. Kimani.
Communist power. Ruto must go, and he must go now, because Ruto lies, and he lies without flinching, and he lies every day, and he lies all the time, and we know that is his nature. I know that you are gathered here to continue the discussion and also to speak plainly about the state of the nation today, because as we know it all, and all of us here, we know it, that we are at crossroads because of the deepening crisis that we've seen. We've seen that the corrupt have come together to unite, and it's also begging the question, if the corrupt have coming together to join to continue their corruption, then what are we, the citizens, doing? And I'm happy that this space is being held tonight, because it's still part of the citizens' action, and it's also part of shaping the future today. The ordinary Kenyan struggles will not go away just because the billionaires have come together. It's only going to get worse, because we all know that they're not coming together to solve the nation's crisis, but they're coming together to solve their own crisis against the nation. And so we know that we've seen all the human rights violations. We still have a lot of people missing, and this is very sad to be experiencing today in a country where the president, the illegitimate president, is saying that he wants to rule using the rule of law. I'm sorry, Mutemi, for using the rule. I know, because at the end of the day, what we yearn for is the rule of law and not the rule of the jungle, and not the rule of one person, and not the rule of one party, and not the rule of the corrupt, definitely. And so I'm here to give a message of solidarity from Nakuru, also a message of solidarity from Eldoret, from the people that we've been speaking to silently, and also the people we've been injecting to, getting to know why this struggle is all important for them to be part of. So in this context, us in Nakuru will be having the Iwazi Festival that happens on Monday and Tuesday. And the essence of the festival is geared towards injecting more towards a push for transparency and accountability. We're setting this as a platform that is going also to be confronting these challenges head on. We know we have friendly people in government who know what's going on and really, really want change for this country. And so we are also seeking to engage them and getting to know how is it possible that we can reap from the people who are inside to help us make sure that this system falls, because essentially we have to make sure that it falls. So in essence, we're going to be using art, we're going to be using technology, and we are going to be using a lot of conversations to be able to speak to the nation's soul. How are we able to make sure that when all this is said and done, we are ending up with a country that we can all be proud of? And I believe that is very much possible within our lifetime. It's very much possible now rather than tomorrow. And I know out there we have Kenyans who feel as though they are crestfallen, as though they are feeling like giving up. What I want to tell them tonight is that we're here in solidarity. We are together. What they are thinking is what we are thinking. So the moment, as long as we are together in thought, we can always be together in deed. And so I'd like to leave it at that. That's what we're planning right here down in the Rift. But we're also in solidarity with the people who are going to be on the streets next week. We believe that the streets is where the power will be won back to the people, and the streets is where we shall be. So eventually, at the end of the day, It's not either or if, but it's a must that Ruto must fall. He must fall because he's shown it time and again. And the recent most time that he's shown it and shown us the middle finger was today. We can see where he's going with this regime of his. So the sooner it gets out of our faces, the better. We need our country back, and we need to build a much, much better future for us and also for our children and the people who are going to be coming after us. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sefu, just before you pass the mic, if you will allow me, I would like to go back to reason number 4 why Ruto must go, and that is violation of the Constitution. In 23 very short months, William Ruto has violated our Constitution over 36 times. We have a petition at the High Court, that's petition number E356 of 2024, that has put together evidence which will show all these instances when William Ruto has violated our Constitution. So as we proceed with this conversation, the question is, shall we allow someone that has violated our Constitution that many times continue to govern us? You think about that even as we take our next speaker. Carry on, Sefu.
Thank you, Muthiora Kariara, for that. And even before I call on our next speaker, who is Professor Ogola, and he will be clarifying a few things. He's an economist. I would just like to remind us that we are on the street on the 27th. Yes?
Sefu, kindly, can I go next? Because my network is not...
Okay, let me just finish. We are on the street on the 27th of August, where... Yes?
The best, and I might...
We're on the street on the 27th of August. Kindly join us on the streets as we will be calling for better governance for our country, and for Ruto must go now with these reasons. Also, comrades, tomorrow from 8 p.m. we will also be having another X space where we will be discussing our Katiba and why Ruto must go and why we should be going to the streets on the 27th and why we should consolidate our power. So kindly remember those dates and remember to keep it locked, even as I call on Professor Ogola. Kindly take 2 minutes, Prof. Then we'll have our next speaker.
Thank you very much, Sefu. Mine is not a speech, but it's more of a clarification. KOT Sonko talked about the fact that Ruto has created jobs in UAE for house help. I just want to correct that is not what he has done. Kenyans have always gone abroad, and Kenyans don't need Ruto to go abroad. And I think that is a misnomer to believe that Ruto created opportunities for them to go work abroad. Some of us studied abroad. Ruto never helped us. In fact, it's completely a joke that he says he gave Kenyans brought a job, Kenyans jobs abroad. Then the other thing I wanted to correct there was when he says that Gachagua had stolen only 200 million. It was 7.5 billion shillings on record that was returned to him after that. So the figures are even higher than that. So I'm sure that we need to make these things clear because the magnitude of our problems are higher than that. The third thing I want to bring across is that the government, Ruto also has to go because of misplaced priorities. Look, Kenya shillings, 14.2 billion shillings will be used for printing new currency just to put the signature of some kind of people in treasury, the next year's treasury. We are going to spend 14.2 billion shillings. Yet Mbadi says he has no money to employ the JCC teachers, which should cost 13.4 billion shillings. So the misplaced priorities in this government is amazing, is one of the reasons why we are suffering. And our main problem is economic. So my question is, we should take one issue out of the very many issues and take one that all Kenyans will agree easily and buy in easily and create anger around it. And for me, that problem now is corruption. Even if when you say corruption, everybody in Kenya is annoyed, including those in government, including those in church and the rest. Can we pick an issue that is very emotive, very emotional, and dig in it properly and whip the emotions until the rage is on the roof? And that will make Kenyans know. Like the finance bill was one rage that was very clear. Just said finance bill. So I guess that should be something like that that will take us forward. But what I'm trying to say is that people who are saying we should give Ruto time should tell us what they are benefiting so that Ruto can stay in office. And I should say we should decide that either you are an oppressor or you are the oppressed. All of us here are oppressed. Any other person saying anything positive about Ruto must be an oppressor, because you cannot tell me you are on the fence. I think for me, that's what I wanted to clarify and just encourage comrades that our war is not lost, and we need to move to the how, because that question is being asked a lot at the moment. We have to start whipping people, that we need to educate people. I don't like too much political education, but these are terminologies. We just decided to call it People's Assembly to respect the views of people who are equal. We know there's political education taking place, but we'll call it more political education. Call it more People's Assembly to allow all the voices coming on forward and allow people coming in the platform equally. But I believe we should start talking about the issue of taking the vote, because that's what we are being criticized. We created this guy without, because we didn't vote. And also we have no voters card. We have no IDs. We should start talking about even some songs saying our weapon still remain, ultimate weapon remains our voters card, our ID cards, because
Prof, thank you for those remarks that you've given. And just to clarify, that political education is all the work that we are doing, even in the consciousness, the people's assemblies, uh, uh, putting together the issues that are the political issues and the socioeconomic factors and the integrity of our leaders. And of course, it brings about, it brings all people to the table with political consciousness, because we need that consciousness for us to be able to consolidate our power as the people, the people's power. Thank you very much, Prof, for
Comrade
that.
Seifu, sorry to interrupt, but I would love to just help us guide the conversation, because I don't want it to. We should not necessarily drag the space too long. Let's give rounds to the speakers who are still on the panel, who have not yet spoken. We could start with Farah, who's been waiting for a while, and then, because we are almost heading out of time, and just organize a disciplined environment around which the space is happening. Thank you, my comrade.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Omar, kindly, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, Seifu, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Niko kwa ngamia, so network is not the best. So I wanted to raise your awareness on what is happening. Like, I want you to mentally step out of the country and look at it from the outside. We have a failing immigration system, to the extent whereby we have Burundians and Congolese and Tanzanians as barbers, hawkers, taking away jobs that the less educated people should be occupying. We are exporting our best and the most educated fellows. We were sending them away. We have a failing education system, meaning we are creating a generation of fools. We have a failing healthcare system, meaning unless you have comprehensive health covers, you're one sickness away from poverty. It's not sio kwa bahati, it's by design, because what is next is they're trying to take control of production of food, because once they have production of the food and the education and people are not as educated as the lucky generation we currently have thanks to Kibaki and Uhuru, then they can do whatever they want, because even now we have our identities have an expiry date. so hakutakuwa na tofauti baina yako na yule mkimbizi. That is something you need to be very, very aware of. That is why our IDs are not being produced na mnalazimishwa the ones that have an expiry date. The other thing, this path is one of eternal vigilance. It doesn't matter whether, yes, this government must go. That's not a negotiable, because you don't negotiate with somebody who wants to lead you at gunpoint. How can we live under a government that had snipers on the roof? There's a guy who was knocking on his mother's door, nifungulie, and he was shot. If he wasn't given enough time to get even into his house, what time does this government need? Honestly, make me understand, because it's not right. Majama, there's some things that are not transactionary, and your motherland should never be one of them, because this is all you have. People have died, and I want all the political people here to be aware that you might have the oranges in the wheelbarrow, but the blood in the soil will never let those oranges bloom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Farah Omar Abdi. 13 reasons why Ruto must go. The first one is extrajudicial killings and mass murder of Kenyans. But we also have those of us who have been abducted. Recently, we have seen the abduction of Bob, of Aslam, of Jamil, who, of course, we are calling for them to be produced to us because we do not support and we greatly and highly condemn these abductions and arrests.
My sister, before I forget, there's a petition filed by Kenya and Shakira asking for positions for the youth in the IEBC, both the selection panel and the final commissioners, and a place for the people with disabilities. Kindly, let us not rest our fate in the political class. To kimbizane na hiki tu, let's ensure we have youthful representation and people we can trust, people we vet and back. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is why it is important, even as we're doing this, for us to now maybe move away from this leaderless movement. Because if you want to take away the political class, then it means that we need to have organization. Because now, after Ruto must go, what happens? The people who are the most organized to take power and to lead this country. So that it is important for us to consolidate this. I have tried to bring in proud communists. I don't know why I'm not seeing you on the list of speakers, but I will call Fees Must Fall. S.C. Karis, kindly take 2 minutes. We don't have much time. I think at 10 p.m. we should be closing. So be as brief as possible for us to have a lot of speakers say something and then closing remarks.
Thank you very much. I just want to highlight what's going on in the education sector. That's my number one reason for why Ruto must go. He has attacked our education system from the day that a child is born in Kenya today to the point where they get to university. There's an attack on every single level. Number one, Linda Mama, we all know, was dropped. So when a child is born, the protections that were there for the mother and the newborn baby are gone today, which means our child mortality rate is going to be high. So if a child survives and gets into primary school, the school feeding program, 4.9 billion, was also dropped. And that happened this year. In the 5th month of the year, the Kenyan Treasury scrapped the 4.9 billion allocation for the school feeding program. That's in primary school. In high school, we know what's happening to the JSS teachers. Again, in high school, the Edu Afia, which was a comprehensive health cover for high school students, that was also scrapped. There is nothing that this administration is not attacking when it comes to education. And then we know what's going on with the university fee hikes. And now today we've heard that the University of Nairobi student leader has been abducted. Every single level of our education system is under attack. And this is why Ruto must go, and we must take this issue very, very seriously, because if he succeeds in dumbing down our populace, he will have a populace that he can control, and he'll have a populace that he can dictate to. So let us fight for the restoration of all these programs in our education system, because an educated populace will ensure that this man goes, and his remnants as well. Because I know he is planning for the future. He's planning for his sons and the friends and his relatives to take over power in another 50, 100 years. Let us also plan for another 50, 100 years of our education of the strengthening of our education sector, because that will ensure that his plans fail. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for speaking to reason number 11 why Ruto must go, which is destroying healthcare and education. Ruto's overtaxation has crippled our healthcare and education systems, driving us into poverty. The cost of living is unbearable. How much more can we take? Ayo, the sixth, kindly take the mic. You have 1 minute so that we can allow others to speak, and then we have our closing remarks and prepare for tomorrow's X space as well. Ayo.
All right, thank you so much, Sefu. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ayo the Sixth. I have only one reason why this human being needs to exit office. And one of the major reasons why I think Ruto has to go is because of the extrajudicial killings. We've lost our brothers and sisters on the streets of Nairobi, across the country, in Mombasa, Kisumu, wherever, Eldoret, his hometown. We've seen people die in the name of police brutality, yet nothing is being done to give justice to the families of these human beings. If you feel like you need to be in a position where we still need to give Ruto time, it's like you're insulting our intelligence and telling us, give him this man more time to keep on killing our brothers and sisters. I'm speaking in pain because I've been in the streets of Nairobi, even with Kasmuel, around Nation Center, whereby live bullets were being showered on Kenyan citizens because they are trying to fight for their rights. And then he comes back on the theme of national cohesion, appointments in government positions that have been undermined by the age-old problems of recycling appointees, patronage, nepotism, and ethnicity. He's appointing his people who will help him stay in power. We are a country of more than 42 tribes, and we need everybody represented in these national seats. So that is my only reason. Under my 1 minute, I feel this human being needs to get out of office, and we need to clinch those seats. And just a moment, Sefu. I'm asking all of you, if you're interested in a political seat and you're a young person, please come up. We will support you. We need to drain the system completely, and we need new people in the government to lead us.
Thank you so much, Ayo. And that speaks to our reason number 1, where we say 13 reasons why Ruto must go. And number 1 is extrajudicial killings and the mass murder of Kenyans. The next 3 speakers I call, kindly take 1 minute so that we can also take our closing remarks from some of the speakers, and then we finish this space. I will call Agal decides to talk, kindly 1 minute, and then Omondi Ochuka, then Freedom Songs, take 1 minute each, then we'll have closing remarks.
Amazing. Thank you, Sefu. So I just want to take us back into the corruption bit. And even as we think about how the government has really been getting into corruption, let's think about also how deep it cuts across we as Kenyans. And, corruption begins from the onset between each and every single community, from even the family level. And when you think about it, how many times have we actually been pioneers of this said corruption. Look at our traffic system. We still allow matatus to carry more than the passengers required. We're not speaking out at that. We need good transport systems, good vehicles, reliable means of transport. But then again, when you think about it, like, we are still pioneers of not really championing growth from the smallest level, which is like where exactly we come from. So I just want us to look deeply also into that. And, sometimes looking within also helps you know exactly what you're fighting for. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That is so profound, and speaks on chapter 6 of integrity, where even we should have integrity to kill out the corruption that is going on in our country. Reason number 8 speaks about corruption and looting, corruption in all the sectors that we have. Freedom songs, 1 minute. Omondi Ochuka, 1 minute.
Thank you, Sefu. I have two things that I would like to comment on. Number one, over the years, if you look at the history of our country, there has been a very deep resentment for people who are free. And one thing that has changed over the years, if you look at between 1990, especially the peak coming with Reject the Finance Bill 2024, was people becoming more powerful, people becoming more driven by their consciousness to change things. I think there were just a few people who were brave enough to say, we are going to change the system, we are going to do this and that. But there was a lot of fear because the system is rooted deeply in brutality. So that has changed. And what we need to do as we look at the political class right now is their own organization into a small community of elitism, a small community of privilege, a small community of entitlement. And they believe that they can actually do away with every other person, every other voice that is resenting all this pilferage, all this corruption. So if we are able to organize ourselves as a community that are awakened, and we are able to spread that education across the country, then we have a possible chance at creating a blooming nation of conscious people, a blooming nation of people who have integrity. And this goes all to the second point. We are understanding that our biggest power as a people is in terms of how we organize ourselves, the wisdom of the crowd. We have seen people from lawyers, we have seen people from auditors, we have seen people who have very different gifts that they can put on the table. And these gifts can actually be organized in terms of what do we need to replace the political class that is very rotten to the core. Because we have to have that conversation at some point. And
Omondi, thank you so much for your remarks. I'll have to cut you short because of time. I think one of our speakers has fallen out. We'll have Mungadi speak.
Comrade Sefu.
And then,
Comrade Sefu. Kindly, because I think I would want to just buy a few seconds or a minute for Omondi so that he can land that point in terms of organization, because it speaks to the question of what next. I'm willing to request speakers to shave a minute off of the closing remarks so that he can land, because he was cut midpoint and not towards the end.
All right, comrade, you may proceed. Then we will have Mungadi and then the closing remarks. Comrade Omondi?
Ochuka? Okay, I can't hear you. So
it seems like we've lost Comrade Ochuka. So, Comrade Mungadi, if you can speak for 1 minute on why.
I'll speak to one. Number one, as a Ugandan and a neighbor with you people from Kenya, we have lived under dictatorship for 40 years and you gave us hope. Now, the extrajudicial killing that I'm seeing in Kenya is typical of what is happening in Uganda. And for me, I'm saying Ruto must go because we cannot have another surrogate of Museveni in the neighborhood. You gave us hope. Actually, you are the reason why Ugandans rose up. But when this thing looked as if it collapsed on you, we are so worried because it's now the guy is going to screw us more. So Ruto must go. We cannot have those extrajudicial killings exported from Uganda to Kenya. I'll just sum it like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mungadi, and also for your solidarity from all the way from Uganda. I am seeing that we really don't have much time, although I had seen Nonini Mgenge True. Kindly, Comrade Nonini, take 1 minute. I know you're launching a song tomorrow on social justice as we close down.
Yeah, hi everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, just wanted
Loud and clear.
okay. I just wanted to commend you guys for the space. This is a good thing you guys always do consistently. Speaking from outside here in the diaspora, tukuja kwa spaces kama hizi, this is how we get conversations and communication of what's happening on ground. Because most of the time we rely on news, we rely on the citizens, the KTNs, and sometimes, you know, they curate information, what they want to serve us. So spaces like this are really, really good. I can add maybe one of my reasons. I think the creative sector and people with talents and entrepreneurs in Kenya really looked, young entrepreneurs are really looked down upon, especially if you're a musician or any kind of arts. There's been a categorical sabotage that has been done in the creative sector. And you can see even with the recent appointments, like yani, we're jumping from a frying pan into the fire. Like nothing will ever change in the creative sector. Vijana yani, watu wanaimba, saa yote yani, ukiangalia tu our sector is just in shambles from royalties to everything. So that's my reason. I want to invite you guys tomorrow. Just join our space. We have a surprise for everyone. We're just going to be in solidarity with the whole movement. As a musician, I feel it's important to have social justice. I've always done that in my music. Sometimes you have music that is for happy times, for good times, but sometimes you have music that is connecting with the people. It's about what's happening on ground. So currently what I feel is happening on ground is to stand in solidarity with the young guys who are trying to change Kenya. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you guys for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Nonini Mgenge True. I request through to KOT Sonko and to Willie or Eba. Tomorrow we had also scheduled a next space, which is going to happen from 8 p.m. And it is just a follow-up on this. And also we will be really focusing on the Constitution. And I think so that we consolidate our efforts, it would be good. I don't know if you'd agree for us to join efforts so you can do the launch of the social justice song on the space, and then we can merge it with the conversations that we have having, so that we have a much larger audience in this work and consolidate all our efforts. You can reach out for that, and we can agree on how to do it to get all our. I would like to apologize. We could speak, of course, but we thank you very much for joining in. Rastan, CJ, Culture Kenyan Media, Brian Bai, The Real Joe, Baraka, Frederick Karanja, Wisto Rajic, Ogalo, Western, Hitler, Muguna, Nothing, Steve, Wangu, Amakeri, Jackson, Miriki, D. Tyro, Okeja Brian, Global Walking, Macero, Okumu, one whose name I can't read in Russian, Tweeting Sheikh, Michael Okumu, Timothy Mukaria, Clinton Kenda, Pinu Chudari, David Otunga, Jackson Charo, Salim Omhwai, Daniel Okesh. Not mentioned. In your request, unfortunately, we could not approve all of them for you to speak because our time is limited. But we're requesting for you to join us tomorrow. We will give more time for us to be able to speak. Same time from 8 p.m. The space will be hosted by Okia Omtata. And we hope that you join us there on Why Rutomustgo, on the total shutdown on Katiba Day, the action that we are going to be undertaking on the 27th which 27th of August, which is Katiba Day. And now I'll just also invite my hosts and co-hosts to say something as we wind down.
Thank you very much, Seifu, for holding it down for us. Thank you, dear comrades, for being part of this conversation. Just before I hand it over to Kasmuel so we can wrap it up, I would like to explain a little bit about the National Provisional Coordination Committee of the People's Assemblies, that is NPCCPA. This coalition of organizations is one that was birthed in the streets as we carried the message, Ruto must go. There comes a time when we are called upon to be more than we've ever imagined we can be. Those that came out to defeat the Finance Bill 2024 heeded that call, and indeed they proved that we can surpass our wildest expectations. This battle is not won yet, which is why the following organizations have been organizing. Like just last week, we had people's assemblies happening in Kayole under the Kayole Social Justice. We had the Kibra Social Justice coming together. We have other organizations such as the Githurai, Kasarani, Madare, Mcoure, Dagoretti, Dandora, Kitengela, Kisumu social justice centers that are part of this coalition. We have Kenya Bora Tuitakayo. We have Concerned Citizens Movement. We have Operation Linda Jamii. We have Kisumu Peace and Accountability Center. And we even have a number of political parties, among them the Communist Party of Kenya. We have UGM. We have Ukweli Party. We have National Reconstruction Alliance, NRA, the one that sponsored Okia Omtata to the Senate, just to name but a few of the organizations that are people-centric that have come together to make sure that the job is done. So we appeal to all patriotic Kenyans to keep supporting the movement. We are just experiencing a lull before the perfect storm that must happen so we can birth the third liberation. Ruto must go is not a mantra. Ruto must go is a reality that we must make happen. We have 3 years to the next general election. And as someone that has participated in a general election, I know it can be daunting, it can be challenging. But the fact that I was there, like many of you have, I know that if you step up, if you rise to the challenge, we can give Kenya the alternative that has missed for so long. So, Kasmuel, I'll hand this over to you so you can remind Kenyans out there that we are doing this again tomorrow. It will be hosted by Senator Okia Omtata. We will have Kasmuel on the panel. We'll have Sani Sefu and a number of other panelists who will be looking into how we will not let Katiba Day just be any other day. Kasmuel, you can wrap this for us now.
Thank you very much, my comrade, and thank you very much for everybody who's joined. We intended to have the space for 2 hours. I'm very, very delighted to report that we've just exceeded the time by over 8 minutes. I'm very sorry to every Kenyan who hoped to speak on the space and did not get a chance. We deeply and terribly regret that, but we continue to say that in your own possible way, keep on injecting in whatever avenue you get. And even if you have spaces, please invite us to those spaces. We'll be willing to contribute and to amplify on those issues. We have a very, very hectic week coming up next week. We have Katiba Day coming up. We have the teachers strike. We have doctors striking. So, and also we remember we are pursuing our identity cards. It's going to be a very busy week, but let us keep the faith up. Do not lose the faith. Do not lose. Keep on saying the things. Keep on doing the things. Thank you very, very much for joining this space. That's it from me for tonight. Remember tomorrow, Nonini, in conjunction with KOT Sonko and Ayo the Sixth and the whole crew, are launching something with Akinawili Oyeba as well.
a song that is and a piece that's in relation to pursuit of social justice. We're having a space as well to see why Katiba Day is very important and why we need to treat it with the sanctity it deserves. I hope that the two groups can be in conjunction with each other so that we see how we can consolidate our efforts. And remember, we keep on reminding every patriotic Kenyan with an organization or without to join the People's Coalition so that we have an organized front, because we are organizing, and organizing to take political power. Thank you very much to my co-hosts, to Comrade Mudori, to Comrade Seifu, and to Comrade Muthiora, and to Comrade Buka, and to all the speakers who've spoken tonight, to Professor Fred, to Comrade Wanjira, to all the patriotic Kenyans who've spent time out of their Saturday evening to listen to us. That will be it for this space. Thank you, and God bless you. Asante.
Cas, kindly allow me to play a song as we are leaving for...
All right, Comrade Seifu. You're free to listen to the song as we leave. You're free to keep on going. Thank you, comrades. Comrade Seifu, we can't hear you. Comrade Seifu, are you playing anything?